All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal. We are your hosts. I'm Rachel, and that is.
I'm Kaz.
Oh my gosh! So it's been another friggin' week already.
Yeah,
I don't
no
even know.
kidding.
I don't even know where the week went, other than
We were just saying that here at home. We were like, how's it Sunday already?
yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I also said to my mom today, when Friday comes, November is half over.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's very true.
Yeah, because
Very true.
and November has 30 days, and then it's Christmas.
All right. Well, that's fine too. That's
I think that's more
fine.
scary than our topic today.
A little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah. So yesterday, so when this airs, it'll be last week. So yesterday we went back to St. Mary's and we did some investigating of the town hall and their public library. And my gosh, those are some really cool buildings. So old, so full of
Jealous,
limestone.
jealous that I didn't get.
Yeah,
Because when we were there before and we drove past them, I was like, oh my gosh.
mm-hmm.
So I'm jealous. But anyways,
We'll go back.
yeah. Apparently. I mean, there's plenty more places for us to investigate this.
Oh yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure
St.
St. Mary's.
Mary's.
Yeah, St. Mary's will be calling. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. And then what? 2 weeks from now, we'll be, I don't know, somewhere south of the border.
Yes, sure will be, but it's a
Still
surprise.
don't know where we're going, but no, gotta know soon. I need the address. I gotta drive.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, she's gonna find out eventually when you tell her, unless we're meeting somewhere, and then you're just gonna follow him from there.
Probably not. I think we are going to be going to Walmart first and getting some groceries and Christmas
Yes,
gifts. We're so close.
at the old Hobby Lobby.
Listen, you'll find a lot of Christmas shit there.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll do Christmas. It was just Halloween. They were like, "Get out, witch." That's all right.
We should have walked in there with some witches' hats on.
I think
Caused a
we would have
scene.
been burned at the stake.
Yeah, it would have been warm. It's okay. All right, so let's get started on today's wonderful topic.
Mm-hmm.
So today's topic is all about like mis and disinformation, and then competitiveness in this, field of paranormal investigating. Because we sure know there's a lot of it.
Sorry, I just sneezed.
Oh my
I'm
god!
back. Okay, I can feel it coming, and I'm like, don't sneeze. And it happens.
Yeah, too late. Too late.
I tried to do the silent one, but I don't know if my
Never.
camera picked it up. And so it would just show me being like, and that's it.
Well, it's going to be perfect for the many faces of real.
I swear that's just going to be like an hour and a half of me like, huh? Whatever.
Well, you just made some really great faces, so guess what?
There you go. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so much misinformation and disinformation in this, I guess, industry, if you want to call it. And, some teams can make up their own definitions, and that's cool, but there's like a universal, like, understanding, I guess, of a lot of things. And then there's just some people who like to spew out information that has no sense at all.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot, especially with like TV shows and stuff like that. You get a lot of like so many different views on things, and some of them are so far out there it's hard to even reach. Right?
Well, and as with anything, it's all about ratings, right? So they're going to take a story and manipulate it or fabricate it in order to get the like oohs and the ahs so that they get ratings, which is a shame because you don't necessarily even need to do that. I mean,
yeah,
why embellish? It's a good enough story to begin with, but they need to, and that's a shame.
Yeah, so that's like one of them is like all ghosts are like out to get you. Like, you know, they're gonna kill you. They're out to get your family. They're gonna pop out of your swimming pool.
Mhm.
You
I
know?
have a number of clients who are like, oh, I don't know how you do it. Aren't you afraid they're going to follow you home? And I'm like, why would a ghost follow me home? I'm like, if the spirit is like haunting a place, it's probably because it's connected to the place or an object. So what what difference does it make if I show up or not? They're not going to be like, oh, wait a second. Like,
I like
I
this
don't
one. I'm going home with her.
exactly. Now, having said that, there's been a few times where clearly a few of the characters we meet enjoy our company and do show up randomly at other
Mhm.
places. But I
Mhm.
don't think they are now glubbed onto us. I don't
No.
feel like that's a thing. But that is a huge, I think, misinformation
Mhm.
type scenario is that, you're going to show up to a place and the ghost is going to be like, you, and then just come home with you. I think that's just a way for people to sell like sage and other
Oh my
crystals and
gosh, yes.
whatever else, magic and things. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do your little thing if you want to sage a place or whatever. Sure. I
Mhm.
mean, all intention is good energy, right? Like if you're putting it in there, but yeah, I don't think a ghost can be
Mhm.
like, oh my God, sage. Anyway, like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They'll just be like, kid you not.
Yeah, please, that's getting in my eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like I know like our team, so the Paranormal Seekers, like we talk about how it's called like the Hollywood effect, where you know Hollywood has made it so it seems like all ghosts and spirits are evil, out to get you, gonna murder your family in your sleep. But again, because they need the ratings, they need the money coming in to pay for that production, to pay their staff, to pay their actors and actresses. So they need to make it and sensationalize it to make it so it's interesting, so people come in and you know pay that money to go see those movies. And when they say based on a true story, yeah, the basis of the story is true. The stuff that's happening, probably not.
Exactly. Or at the very least, it's like they had a couch. Dun, 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 and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
good. That's it. That's all we needed. Now it is based on the truth that you had a couch. And
Yeah.
now you're being murdered by a ghost. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. It wouldn't be very scary, really, if it was
No.
just like, ooh, a mug moved or a floorboard creaked. Yeah,
Or you
exactly.
find your attic hatch wide open and you've lived
Right.
here for, 13 years and it's never been
Mhm.
open, but it was open today.
Right. Well, that's creepy.
Just a smidge.
Hmm.
But
I'd laugh if a raccoon came out.
yeah, I would not. Dead person, raccoon.
Exactly. Honestly, sometimes I'm more afraid that there's going to be some sort of rabid animal around the corner than a ghost.
Yeah,
That's more scary to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like on top of that whole like sensationalizing thing, another big thing of like mis and disinformation is that only old buildings or buildings with tragic events are haunted.
Hmm.
So that's a no. Any building can be haunted. Even if it was
Hmm.
built in 1904 or if it was built in 2024,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely. Well, look at all those new houses they built on the ruins of the Whitby site. I mean, they're new homes, but I guarantee, well, I know from firsthand people who have lived there, they were like,
Mhm.
yeah, holy crap. And it was not
Yeah,
the building, it was the land.
exactly.
So,
And it doesn't mean like the house has to
absolutely.
be built like right on top of where the old house was built. It could have been like
Hmm.
8 acres and you're still on their land.
Exactly.
I've seen it before. Well, I've come across it. I haven't seen it. I don't see
And
anything.
also, just because a house looks like it's haunted doesn't mean that it is as well,
No.
because there's that factor.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Just because it's old and abandoned doesn't mean there's anything
Mhm.
there.
I
I've seen a
think
lot of Go on.
Well, I was gonna say, like, buildings that have kind of open spaces. For example, like a movie theater. If you're in there by yourself, because your brain recognizes it's there for watching, so there'll be people in it. So you instantly feel like I'm being watched. That must mean there's a ghost. It's haunted. And that's how it all gets started. And so I think sometimes also situations like that, where people were like, oh, misinterpreted maybe, I don't want to say the energy, but just how they're feeling, and then it becomes a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It must be haunted then.
Like I was gonna say, like with abandoned buildings, just because it's abandoned doesn't mean people abandoned it because they were terrified to live there. They could have abandoned it for so many different reasons. They couldn't live there anymore. The property was, bought out from them, and now it just sits there. Like there's just so many different reasons, and it's just they didn't run away. So the house is probably not haunted. It's just abandoned and falling apart. And then that's when you get all these urban explorers going in and falling through the cracks and killing themselves. Like,
and then it's haunted from them.
Yeah, then it's haunted from them, but no, it wasn't before.
I think another one that makes me laugh all the time is that cemeteries are haunted. And I'm like, but why? Because there's no one died there. And they're like, but the bodies. And I'm like, okay, so let's say there are such things as ghosts. And when you die, your spirit can go anywhere. You can go stand around your grave. No, you'd probably never even go there. You'd be like, whatever, I'm out of here. So when police, I'm like, no. Or morgues. No one dies at the morgue. The bodies are there, but no one's died. Like, again, I really don't think a spirit's gonna go and stand at the morgue and be like, that's my body. No, I don't think anyone wants to see themselves dead. The morgue. You'd probably be like, ooh.
Yeah. That's what I look like naked on a table.
Yeah. Like, not a place. No. Creepy, but not haunted.
No. And then another one, like, I guess if we're going on this whole like night thing, is that ghosts only come out at night and that paranormal investigations only happen at night. Yeah. They do happen at night, but that's because, like, for us, like, the hustle and bustle of the day is done. Businesses are closed to the general public. And, your senses are more heightened when you lose one, right? So when you lose your sense of sight, because now it's dark out, everything else is heightened. That's the reason why we investigate at night. We also investigate during the day because you darn well know if a ghost is going to show itself or do something, it doesn't give a shit about what time it is.
Exactly.
He's not like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I better go move that book.
Right? Exactly. And we've had so many times where, especially during the summer, when it stays late or light for later, and we're already investigating and stuff's happening. And it's not like, well, it's summer hours. So no, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And exactly like you said, during the day, you're busy doing stuff. So you probably don't notice something moving or that sound or whatever it is. Meanwhile, at night, when you're winding down and all of the busyness of the day has come to an end, suddenly you're like, there's some door just closed. Like, suddenly you can clue into it. So yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
That things happen more at night only because you're more aware.
Yeah, like I said, you lose your sense of sight because it gets dark out. So your sense of smell and your sense of hearing heighten beyond anything, which is why you mostly hear sounds while you're trying to sleep, and then think there's ghosts in your living room.
Yeah, like a perfect example of that is the place that shall not be named. We got there during the daylight and stuff happened right off the bat. And I guarantee if we were there during the day, it wouldn't matter at all. It would just be busy nonstop.
Oh, yeah. But that's for another time to talk about. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. You're going to wait like 4 or 5 more weeks. No, 4 weeks. 4 weeks to that one? Yeah. Okay. Anyways. All right. How about this one? All orbs are ghosts.
Okay. So, yikes. God love the people that are like, oh, the orb is my dead relative coming to say hello. Because you know what? Yes, sure. We won't talk that it's sun reflection or whatever else. No. But again, if that's what you want to believe, sure. No. The amount of times we have had people be like, look at the orb. And we're like, it has 6 legs and wings. I'm pretty sure that's just
I had years and years and years and years and years ago, we received an email from someone who was like, oh my God, I caught an angel on my camera. Would you like to see a picture? We're like, sure, send us the picture. I'm pretty sure it was a mosquito, not an angel. Last time I checked, angels weren't blood-sucking insects. You could see the wings. Like, literally, it had wings. Like, you could see the wings. So I'm like, you don't catch an angel. It's a bug. Or they're like, look at this, like, creepy, like, just, like, long, like, orbs, like, moving. I'm like, dude, that's a spider web in your camera.
Remember that crazy thing I had? And I was like, oh my God, look at this thing. And it was my hair over the lens. Yes. It looked wild. It looked wild.
Yeah. So hair will do that. Like literally hair and like will look like weird, like especially when it hits IR, like infrared, it looks really like crazy. And it's like, it's cool. It's cool because you're like, wow, my hair actually looks like that. It's like even when you have a bath and like a piece of hair lands on the top and it floats and you see the little shadow, it looks just like that.
Exactly.
Debunked.
And then there's dust particles.
Yeah.
That move and dance and whatever. And
does it? So some people think that's just moves in one direction, down. Bless you, Jay. No, dust moves with the airflow, whether that is up, down, left, right, or in a circle. It moves with the airflow. So if you're moving, it's going to move with you. So guess what? It's going to go to the left or the right or around. Not dead people. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I've had some pictures with one single orb. Can't, place dust, can't place a bug, can't place nothing. Don't know what it is. Could it be a dead person? Maybe. Could it be something that we haven't like figured out yet? Definitely more of a possibility. But just with everything surrounding what was going on when we took that picture, it's something to really think about. And that's why when you'll notice that with the Paranormal Seekers, like we don't post like consistent orb pictures because we darn well know, right?
Yeah.
You'll see us post or share, the odd time a picture, but we want to know what you think of it. Like what we may have missed something, but someone else out there might be like, nope, it could be this. And then we're like, oh yeah, maybe it could be. No, it's not every damn piece of flying circle is a freaking dead person.
Exactly.
I hope I get a lot of followers for that. No.
Yeah, exactly. And we're cut off the air. The Orb Association's coming for us now.
Oh my God.
I think the orb pictures are probably the most easiest to debunk for those reasons. But like you said, there have been a couple of interesting ones where we're like, okay. But most of the time, they're one of the above things we just said.
Yeah. Always.
And it's disheartening for people, right? Because they're always looking for something. And especially when they want it so badly to be like a loved one. And so you can see that it's just light refraction and it's just like glinting from the sun. But if that makes them feel good and it's comforting, then sure.
Yeah.
Okay. When we, like you said, post our stuff or when we go through our evidence, I think very rarely we actually have an interest in the orb pictures. But for some people, sure. Okay.
Now, I have heard this next one on a paranormal show, and it was one of those, paranormal caught on camera type shows.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when I heard it, it made me really angry. And
Gosh.
it was, oh, are you ready for this one? It was
Uh-huh.
ghosts and spirits of children. Either they don't exist, so they're something being a child, or they do exist. And the only reason why they exist is because they are not allowed to cross over to the other side, or they don't know how to get there.
What?
See?
I think I know who you're talking about when you say, if it is a child, it's really a demon dressed up as a child. Like, that show needs to give up on the whole demon aspect of things.
Oh, that's another
Ridiculous.
thing. But
I
yeah, to hear
don't
that they just,
understand.
I know, to hear that, no, it, children are earthbound. Like, the ghosts and spirits of children who die are earthbound. They can't go to the other side. That's the dumbest shit I've ever said. Let's tell that to a grieving parent. Like, that's awful.
No kidding. But why would they be discriminated against?
Well,
You don't get to come in, you little shit. Stay where you are. Oh, okay. What?
oh my God. And how would they not be able to know where they're going? They are the closest to where they just came from. Like a
Right.
demon reincarnation type, right? So I don't know. I heard that a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me where it's just like
Yeah, I haven't heard that before, the whole that they can't cross over thing.
yeah,
But the demon thing I hear a lot, and it's like,
yeah.
but is it a child or is it a demon
Listen, I
pretending
know
to be a
some children,
child?
including my own, um, that could be pretty assholery, right? So
Mhm.
they're not demons, they're children,
Yeah,
right? So
there's a fine line. I know. I don't understand the demon is pretending to be a child to sucker you in. If the demon's so powerful, why wouldn't it just show up and be like, now you're mine, bitch? It doesn't need to like dress up as a child and lure you. Honestly, I think it might be creepier if there's a ghost child
mhm.
being like, wanna play? So why would the demon dress what? Why wouldn't it just be like a sexy ghost and be like, wanna come over here and whatever, rattle some chains? I don't know. Like, wouldn't that make more sense? And the people are like,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the demon's like, ha
Yeah,
ha, gotcha. And
yeah,
did whatever demons do, whatever. But the whole, yeah, it's using a child form. Like,
yeah, no.
I think that's a classic case of someone said, that little demon child. And they were like, demon child, it's a demon child.
Yes.
That's what happened. That's
Oh
exactly
my
what it is.
God,
It debunks
yes.
that whole thing. Jeez.
That is true though. That is so true.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
good Lord.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
children. Well, even when they're alive or they're dead, they can be jerks.
Exactly.
Either way. So,
Oh,
and
man.
like another piece of misinformation that I came across with actually last year.
Hmm.
Yeah, oh no, this year would have been this year. Was information that, and I think I talked about this before, like I think in our first episode or something. Um, we were on a haunted walk, and they were talking about how a poltergeist is a ghost of a child.
Right.
It's not. I don't know where they got that information from, but they're sharing it, right? So they're giving that information out, and people are taking it in, and it really needs to be changed. Pardon me, but that really drove me nuts too, is because no, a poltergeist is energy. It's not an identifiable energy. So no, it's not.
Hmm.
It's not a little girl or a little boy. It's just there. The
Right.
energy you put out is what's there. That's what. Well, that's what I believe. But
Hmm.
oh,
Yeah, it's a shame when you go on these things like walks, or even if you go
mhm,
on a haunted tour of a place and they're really embellishing the storyline to make it more dramatic or exciting.
Mhm.
Because then people leave and go, ooh, and then they talk about it, and then it gets bigger and bigger, which is why I never want to hear about a place before we go, because a lot of it's probably bullshit
Mhm.
that has been fabricated over the years, like a broken telephone type thing.
Mhm.
And so I don't want to be influenced by that. I'd
Yeah.
rather just have the building talk for itself.
Yeah.
So when these places, like we were just in Charleston, my sister and I, and we went into this amazing old building, has a lot of history. And there are tours that also go around to that building, but we specifically went through the company that is inside the building and does it. And the misinformation that people in our group had heard from the other tours
Mhm.
about people dying and being murdered and all this stuff. And the guy's like, no, there's absolutely none of that. He's like, I'm really
Mhm.
sorry you heard that, because now you think of this place as something other than it was.
Mhm.
And dramatic effect, great. Like, that's
Mhm.
good. But he's like, history, though, he's like, no.
Mhm. We've had that too. Like
Mm-hmm.
years ago, we did a place out east, and it was a former hospital for those who had intellectual disabilities. And I'm sure there was, people with actual physical disabilities there as well. And another
Mm-hmm.
team had went in after us, or before us, as before us, and they were trying to do some filming there, and they were like putting it all over like social media and everything, that it was this old, haunted insane asylum, and it was this and this and this and this. And we're like, okay, so doing research to find out it wasn't even close to an insane asylum. And we talked to a whole bunch of employees that actually had worked there, and they were like, you guys got to do something about this, like false, stories, these false narratives out there, that we were just like this insane asylum for the criminally insane. So I posted on our story, this is what this place was. We've talked to employees, do not believe that it was anything but this place. And, yes, horrible stuff probably happened there, as it does any hospital. But
Mm-hmm.
these employees were very, into keeping the history of, all the good that happened at the hospital. Anyways, this team found out that I had posted this over our story and was like, oh, you need to take it down. We're trying to do this to get ratings. And I was like,
Oh,
no,
wow.
it's still up today.
Good. Well, we were, oh gosh, I was it Hinsdale where there were two brothers that the story out there is that they
Mhm.
murdered people and did stuff. And then you found the research and you're like, no, that's actually not true.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. So a lot of people hear these folklores or the misrepresentation, and then they might go investigate a place and be calling these poor ghosts out for stuff that they didn't do or whatever it is. And it's a shame when places get like the Hillary House that we talked about last week, where they get
Mhm.
maybe a reputation for something, but there's no
Mhm.
actual basis of
Exactly.
truth. It's just because it's like, oh,
Yeah. The rumor mill starts.
exactly.
And then people just add on like an awful game of telephone.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, with my little segue there, now let's, we did some like disinformation and misinformation. Let's talk about the competitiveness in this, industry. Because,
Yes.
paranormal unity is what everyone strives for, and it doesn't
Mhm.
exist.
Not at all. I never realized how catty people in this industry can be. I don't understand why there's enough ghosts to go around. I don't get it. And it doesn't matter if one people go and investigate and then others do. I don't
Mhm.
get why there's competition. Aren't we all striving for the same thing?
Exactly. That's what everyone says. But no, no. People
Mhm.
make it into a competition for whatever reason. I don't know, jealousy, anger, I don't know,
Uh, those
stupidity. I don't
basically I can get. Yeah,
know.
very
Like we
strange.
even see it in like the TV show. So Ghost Adventures, for example. Look what happened to them. It started off with 3. And then God knows I didn't even read into it. Whatever. Not my business. Don't care. Nick goes off. Something's happened, right? So now they've gone from 3 people, now they're up to 4. Nick doesn't even talk to any of them anymore. Off they go, right? Like, obviously something went on there that, you know. And then you've got Destination Fear. These kids, right? You know, everybody loved them, but sounds like somebody got a little too jealous that they were doing better than he was.
Right.
And removed them from the network. Now they have their own YouTube and are probably doing better than they've ever been. Right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think ego plays into it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a really good team that no one thinks they're better than anyone else. And we all enjoy each other's skill sets or whatever you want, gifts, whatever you want to call it. And there's no animosity or jealousy between us. But it happens when someone's like, well, I'm the only one that can be the blah, blah, blah. And I'm the only one that's allowed to videotape because I'm the best. Like, it just becomes so dumb. Or I have to do the extras because I'm the only one that the ghost talks to. Like, it becomes so ridiculous. But our group, knock on wood, is really well-rounded, that no one walks in going, oh, I'm here and I only do this and I'm the best.
And like years ago, I called myself the lead investigator because I founded the group. I might as well be the leader. And then, you know what I realized in the past little while is, like, I don't need to be a lead investigator. I don't want to lead every investigation. For the love of God, somebody else do it for once, right? Like, I've done it for 20 years, you know? I'd love for somebody else to do it, and I just show up, right? Like, give you guys, like, the reins, right? So I changed it to lead researcher because I'm the one that does pretty much all of the research.
That's a perfect title for sure. Yeah.
And, like, we tell everybody, like, now at presentations, you know, I am a lead researcher. I'm not a lead investigator because everyone in this group has a chance to take lead on an investigation whenever they want. And that's how I'm operating this group is, you know, I may be the founder and the leader, but I don't want everyone to just do what I say. Give me your ideas, share your opinions, take lead, do this, right? Like, I just don't, I'm not that competitive. Though I can be petty. I'm not competitive. I'm too lazy to be competitive. I don't want to do it. I just do my own thing and stay in my own lane and don't come in my lane because I will run you over.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's why we have a great reputation and why we are so freaking busy, because when we show up, we're not all fighting to compete for whatever, and there's clear friendship with us. Like, we have such a great vibe. It doesn't matter who goes on the investigations, whether it's all of us or some of us, we'll get along. You know, if you say, oh, can you go do this? No one's like, who do you think you're speaking to? Or vice versa. If someone's like, hey, Rachel, can you go do that one over there? You're like, yep. Like,
yeah,
it's great. Because we all are coming at this with differences. And I think that's important too, because you need to have that different of opinion almost, because if something happens and we all think the same, then we're not really going to come to much of a conclusion other than the same thing. But if someone else is like, well, but what if it was this? We could all be like, oh, you're right. And there we go. And that happens.
And even with that, like, we aren't even competitive with each other.
No.
And, like, we really aren't, like, competitive with other teams. Like, you know, competition is good regardless, right? But it has to be good competition. Like, you know, striving to get, like, the best evidence. Like, you're competing, but it's fun. It's not like I'm competing because I hate your guts and I want to ruin your life, right?
Exactly.
There are teams out there that feel like that, and they feel like that to any other team that comes across their paths. And it's, you know, it's sad and ridiculous. And it's just like, people, it's the paranormal. It's paranormal. Like, you know,
exactly.
What one team experiences is pretty much not going to be what your team's going to experience. But if you keep going after these teams because you're jealous, you're not going to get anything. because that's going to spill over into your investigations, and then it's tainted. So congratulations, you just screwed up.
Exactly.
Right?
Or you're going to make mistakes like fabricating things,
Mm-hmm.
or, claiming to have skill sets that maybe don't, and then you get found out, and that in itself, you lose all credibility, and then no one wants you because you're a fraud, right? So there's that too. Like, and I think none of us claim to be anything other than we are, and it's perfect.
Yeah. And that also goes with some more disinformation that just popped in my head. There's no such thing, zero, nada, zilch, no such thing as a certified paranormal investigator. You cannot get a certificate. You can make one on Word, Microsoft Word, if you want, and print it out, put it on your wall, but it's not real. There's no such thing as a certificate. So if you buy into all that false crap and give somebody your hard-earned money because they're going to certify you, you literally just brought yourself right into a fraud trap.
Yeah. Come to think of it, no one's ever asked us for our credentials.
They just want our insurance papers. That's our credentials, our insurance papers.
Yeah, exactly.
But like,
it's so true.
There was a posting, and I'm gonna go there. I'm not gonna say names, but I'm gonna go there. And some people might know what I'm talking about. But there was a posting that I saw from somebody within the province of Ontario who was posting how they would teach people how to get into locations for free to investigate. But you had to pay them $200 to sit through this lecture. So pretty much, I'm going to pay you $200 to learn how to do this for free. But I'm giving you my $200 to learn how to do this for free. Why? Wow. Here's how you do it for free, everybody. Send a freaking email and inquire. Ta-da! Problem solved.
And you
didn't have to pay $200 for that. I just gave it to you all for free.
Well, there are college courses you can take to become a paranormal investigator. And
it's not from an accredited college, I can tell you that one.
And that's the other thing. Like, again, what is your certification in? Does the ghost need to see it? I'm pretty sure, like, you can buy the equipment. You don't have to have a license for it.
Listen, y'all want some documents? I will make you some at work. I will get my print shop to print them off. They'll be nicely embossed. They'll have like color. I can fake stamp it.
I think we should have one. We can open like the FBI when we go into a place. We'll be like, we'll call and we'll just have the thing.
Oh my gosh, we need badges. Ryan would feel right at home. He can, I don't know, his number is like 35 or something.
666.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like, no, people, do not buy into that freaking crap. It's absolutely ridiculous. Please don't. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Like, just to see that post makes me cringe. Can't post on it because y'all just get banned and booted because cancel culture at its best. But anybody who falls for that stuff, I'm sorry, but you know what? That $200 could have been spent a lot better.
Absolutely.
Could have used that
actually go stay at a haunted location overnight for that money.
You're already halfway there to Hinsdale, like.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So sorry, I had to put that in there, man. That's some bad.
I think it's important to say it though, because people do think like, oh, I need to take this course, or if I take this course, it's gonna, I don't know, open doors. But
listen, you want to take a course? Take thanatology. It is a certified course of the study of death and dying. Congratulations, there's your course. Or parapsychology. That is also a course. But again, it's not how to investigate. It's the concept behind everything. And I'm sorry, you don't get certificates and awards either for being a paranormal investigator, because if that was the case, our walls should be filled with them, especially for me doing 20 plus years of this stuff. I should have plenty of awards. Listen, I want a little gold ghost on a little statue with like, best paranormal investigator of Oshawa 2020 for.
Yeah, I think we
Like,
would win every year.
see, we would, but no, they don't exist. Okay,
You
they
know
only
what's really
exist in
funny?
people's minds.
Is since you've been talking about the person who was doing the who's like pay $200 or whatever, you kept freezing. So I think they're trying to infiltrate our podcast and cut us off. They're already trying.
So I don't think to that. But I really don't care. Good.
Mm.
Good. But yeah, so yeah. And then of course, that would start a whole other, and speaking of competitiveness, the same person group does these paranormal competitions for who's the best medium and who's the best investigator, who's the best blah blah blah. It's like they do that on their own. Why do you need to do that and have them vote? Like, I don't
Yeah.
need everybody to vote for me.
But
Unless it's
while
gonna
they're
win
off doing that,
$1 million.
we're off actually investigating. So fine, that's fine. They can go do that. They can go have their little awards.
Yeah.
We'll just go investigate.
Yeah. How about I get the award for being the one that's been around the longest in this region? There's my
That's
award.
true. That's very true.
Give me I deserve a t-shirt at least.
Oh gosh.
But, again, that's the whole competition thing. Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it blows my mind because I'm not a very competitive person to a point. We all have that competitiveness. We can all be petty sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a saint, but, I've never put it out there, like,
Mm.
And we've had other teams absolutely want to destroy us. And, way back in the day, we had teams who were upset that we were a group of mostly women who were doing way better than they were. And they were jealous. And, we've had other people be nice to our face. And then they'd go talk to another paranormal team and bash us. It's like, why? What the heck? Like, there's zero reason for this.
Well, again, it's because they can't compete in the same way, in the sense that when you would go out and do stuff, and when we go out now as a team, people are loving us. We have this charismatic way about us. How many times have we gone to a little town and then we get more and more people like St. Mary's, like Minden, where they're like, we've heard about you. And then all of a sudden they're calling us back for more.
Yeah.
It's not because, we're out there bashing other people. It's because we're just great. And we do a really good job. We're professional and we go there. And
that's the other thing too.
Real shit.
When we go to these places, like, we treat these people who have allowed us to come in, we treat them like they're part of the team. Like, it's their show. Join us. Yeah. Like, the guys from St. Mary last night, like the three of them, they're like, what, we can, like, do you want us to leave the building while you investigate? We're like, no, stay with us. Join in, ask the questions, like, be a part of this. And they're like, what? Oh, we can do this. And the one guy was just like, I watch all the ghost shows and my wife hates it. She watches all the true crime. And I'm like, well, just tell her what she watches is what happens before the ghosts. Right?
Exactly.
So they were so, like, I don't know if a lot of teams do that, right? Like, and maybe that's why we get other teams not liking us, because we treat these places like they're part of the team. Like, we have them sign off. We give them the ability to choose what they want to release. We don't, like, not follow it. We ask questions. We put them as a priority. Like, I don't know. That's why people don't like us sometimes, and too bad. I'm not changing that.
You also do a phenomenal job of researching every place before we go there. So when we get there, there's so much information we already have. And I think that really impresses the places because it shows that we respect this. We're really doing a professional job. We're not just showing up and being like, ghost, pew, pew, wow, wow. Like, we're in it because we're legitimately wanting to investigate. Yeah. And then you create a report and give it to them afterwards. So then they have something later on, whether they choose to disclose it to anyone else, or whether they just keep it for their own files. But that's following through. Like, there's so much more than just showing up and be like, we are the ghost hunters and we're here, like, move aside. Like,
And like,
no one wants that.
no, and no. And for me, this might get a lot of flack. I don't like it when people with abilities try to overtake investigations and try to get into investigations by saying, hey, I'm a psychic and blah, 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 blah. Now, will you let us investigate? That's cheating. Do the hard work. Another thing that, it doesn't drive me nuts, and I have no control over this, is that, and I think this is where a lot of this competition stuff comes in as well, is when a team goes to investigate a location and then another team wants to go investigate that location, and they inquire, and that place says, oh no, we've already had a team here, we don't need another one, or we've already have our team, we don't want any more.
Right.
Like for places, like for our team, and I know this probably goes for a lot of other teams that have this as well, we don't have control over what a museum or a location wants to do. That's completely up to them. If they want to be a one and done place, perfect, right? Like, we have no control over that. Nobody has control over that except for the people of that, museum or building or whatever. If they choose to say that, they only want this one paranormal group and they don't want anybody else, again, it has nothing to do with, our team, their team, whatever team, right? Like that's the location choosing to do that. Yeah,
absolutely.
I've seen that a lot.
And we've also been into places where they make comments that, oh, you guys are way better than the ones who were here before. And so that goes to show you, like, I don't know what other teams do. It doesn't matter to me because I know what we do. And again, I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to one up anybody. I just want to go in and do it the best of my ability and find out what we can. And that's great. If people have gone in and they've got tons of evidence and it's amazing, that's incredible. Good for you guys. As long as it's legit, good for you guys. But if we go in and nothing happens, okay, that's fine too.
Yeah. And like, we did a little bit of a documentary filming before a presentation in Cambridge back in October. And we were the last group out of 3 groups to be interviewed. And the interviewer guy was like, I'm so glad I interviewed you guys last, because you guys set the bar so high that the other 2 groups would have never made it up there. And we're like,
oh my gosh,
what? Like, we were just being us, right? Like, there's nothing, like, we weren't like showboating or, just bragging. We were just talking like we normally do and just, sharing our experiences and what we thought. And, and again, somebody else's opinion of us. And if he had shared that with the other 2 teams, sorry, sharing it now, it might not have gone so well, right? And it had nothing to do with us, right? So, did that make us feel really good? Oh, you better believe it did. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course. Right? As it should do. As it should do.
And every team has the right to toot their own horn, especially when they do something great or big or accomplish, an investigation or a location that they've always wanted to. Share it, toot your own horn, right? But do it in a way that it's not going to be like, I investigated this place. Haha, suckers. Do that behind closed doors and don't post it.
Yeah, like, exactly. You don't need to put anyone else down. You're celebrating your wins, but you don't need to do it in a way that you're, putting others down as if it's something else. Like, that's just silly. Again, there's plenty of ghosts to go around. So there's no need. We're all on the same page. This is why there are so many groups out there, is because we're all coming at it from different angles, but we're all after the same goal. And we should be sharing information, what's working, what's not working, how to.
And that's like our website. Like, if you look at our website under places we've investigated, what do you see at the bottom of every little thing? A link on how to get in contact with them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I don't keep nothing a secret. from anybody unless they've told us, don't tell us where you've been, don't give out our contact information, don't share any identifiable, information about, the location, right? Sorry. That's not me being competitive. That's just me following the wishes of a location. And again, if the location says, I just want these guys, that's not that's no team's, decision.
Right. Agreed.
So, but yeah, that's my take on that. I could go on for a lot of things, but I'm just gonna keep my head up high and just remember that I don't lie to get my way and get things.
But we don't fabricate anything.
No.
Because there's no need. I mean, anything that we post is you diligently tried to debunk it and couldn't, or we're excited for whatever we have. That's all. That's it. And and there are times we've been to places and not a lot has happened, and that's okay. Yeah. We don't need to make stuff up just to get ratings or anything along those lines.
No. And yeah, if people think that they don't have the correct truth and they want to know the truth, just ask. We'll tell you, right? We'll tell you the truth about what we feel about a certain place, what we feel about information about a certain place. If they think they've been wronged by another team, we will tell them, hey, you know what? Maybe you should try looking into this or that, right? Like, we're not going to sit there and just be like, oh, well, don't be like this with this team because, this person on this team just doesn't like this person and that person, and they get them all fired, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Right? Like, come on. Like, I don't like it when people anywhere, real life, paranormal world, anything that make things up to make them better about, like, or feel better about themselves because they've done something that they just, they just need to blame somebody else for. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I just move on. I smile and just move on.
Yeah.
But
the best thing to do.
I think any team should do that. You know what? You're going to in this industry, you hear a lot of no's before you hear that one yes. And yeah, it sucks sometimes, but you know what? When you get that yes, it's probably the best yes you'll ever hear.
Exactly.
So
I agree.
There's competition and everything. And like I said, healthy competition is good because it keeps you going. It keeps you, propelling forward to do better, to learn better, to be more, to get more. So when it starts taking that personal, I think that personal level, when you're not really attacking or, competing with a team, you're competing with the person. It's a little different. And that goes with like the TV shows too, right? Because then you've got Destination Fear, so Project Fear, competing with Zach Bagans, like, right? Like,
and that's just pure ego, right then and there.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing about all this competition stuff is ego.
Yeah, exactly.
So, on that note,
shame. Such a shame.
Oh,
but yeah, I would say, sum it all up, do your own research about a place, because don't believe everything that you hear, especially if it sounds like very, fabricated and all this stuff. And the same goes for any, we'll say, evidence that you find. Always try to debunk first. Don't assume it's a ghost right off the bat, because that's where you're going to get yourself into trouble.
Yes.
And just be respectful of everyone in the field, because we're all working towards the same thing.
People send us emails all the time.
And stay in school.
Shooting star, the more you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add that in. But yeah, no, like we get emails all the time asking us, how do you get into locations? Like, what do you do? Like, can you help me get into these locations? And you know what? I'm okay with telling you, like, you got to research, you got to email, ask the right questions, show your interest, provide references if you have them, or some places might ask for insurance, like do all this kind of stuff. I won't tell them I will get them in, because if you do the work for everybody else, it doesn't work. Right? So people ask us these questions all the time, and we're always ready and willing to, answer them and help them. We don't just shoot them down and be like, go do your own shit. Leave us alone. Right?
Exactly.
Like, not like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
Fun times. That's yeah. That's competitiveness and disinformation and misinformation in this field. Like I said, we could probably sit here and talk for hours about this, but we're not going to bore everybody to death for another.
Absolutely. I think it's a good conversation to have, because there's so much of it out there. But yeah,
I don't think a lot of people talk about it.
No, exactly.
So
I agree.
Let us be the first.
There you go. Try and copy that.
Yeah. Bring it. No. I don't care. Bring it if you want.
On that note, PDF side.
Yeah. Just make sure I get a t-shirt this time.
Exactly.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. So that's it for this episode, I guess. Our next episode is, what is it about? Haunted hotels and inns, I think, in Canada.
Oh,
I know we're gonna get into some stuff. Yeah, so we'll just talk about that next time, and give you some places that you can stay. Maybe book a spooky, getaway for Christmas with your friends or your dog or your partner or whoever you want to take, and your mom. I don't know, whoever. Maybe by yourself.
If you're brave enough.
I've slept in a haunted place by myself. Well, I had you guys there, but I was just sleeping. I was the only one. Yeah.
The only one sleeping. You all know what happened then.
Again.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm like, was there any point in me bringing PJs with me? No. So probably won't bring them this time. No.
I will. I might change into them. Oh my gosh. But anyways, all right, guys. So yeah, I guess that's it. Gotta get moving.
Yeah.
It's another week coming, so gonna get some research done for these haunted inns and hotels and bed and breakfast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think we already know a couple that we could recommend. So yeah. Stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun. No. Do they make a haunted hotel? Yeah, they do. Dan Aykroyd. He has this voiceover. It's on like T&E or something. It's like haunted hotels. Oh. We need Dan Aykroyd on here. Oh my God. We totally need to get him.
What up, Dan? Come on.
Yeah. Listen, I'm as old as Ghostbusters. And I am one. No, I'm not really, but.
But you have a proton pack.
I do.
So I think I'm obligated now to do outro. I'll get my agent on it.
Listen, just strap a dustbuster to your back and you can just be like.
We totally didn't even touch on the whole proton pack sucking ghosts into vacuum cleaners thing. That'll be a whole other show.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Oh, all right, guys. We will see you next time. And yeah, we will be around. So feel free to send us an email. So you can send your emails, your questions, your stories to paranormal podcast at gmail.com. So it's PAREHNORMAL podcast at gmail.com. You can check us out on our Facebook and our Instagram. Just look for Paranormal Podcast. And yeah, you can even watch this on YouTube. You can see our funny faces as we make ridiculous ones as we talk.
I love it. Genuine.
Yeah, you can see how ridiculous we are. It's great.
Makes us.
Yeah, just look for Paranormal Podcast on YouTube. So yeah, but anyways, have a great week, everybody, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye. Bye.